We're a week away from the one-year anniversary of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. You've written in the New York Post about the war moving to the next level. How is this conflict going to end? Do we need to build Vladimir Putin a golden bridge to retreat across, to quote the art of war?
That's effectively my view. I mean, there are different scenarios I outlined in that piece, partly on the basis of my traveling and reporting from Ukraine last year. I think that there are different scenarios. Some people say, why not give Ukrainians all the things they need now? And I think the answer to that is that NATO has decided that a gradually approach is better in order not to effectively cause a bigger conflagration with Russia, of course, something that nobody wants. A Ukrainian victory that took some time seems to be a desirable outcome. I mean, of course, all the time we've got to remember lives on both sides are being lost at an astonishing rate, but this was a war that Vladimir Putin started totally unnecessarily on totally false pretexts. I think, however, that there is a strategic question here, which Henry Kissinger and others have also raised, which is effectively, as you say, Rita, what is the off-ramp for Putin? I believe that it's desirable that Russia loses this war, that Putin loses this war, but he has a very tricky challenge with his own people as to how he presents it. He could, of course, himself, and this is something I mentioned, he could stop the war tomorrow. He could withdraw his forces from Ukrainian territory, claim that his denazification program of the Ukraine has been successful, and say a load of other stuff that will persuade some of his loyalists in Russia. He could do that. So I think it is very important people realize that, the continuation of the war is not because of NATO, which I'm afraid some people on the right as well as left now say. It's not because of NATO, and nor is it because of the Ukrainians fighting for their country. The person primarily responsible for this war, the one man responsible for this war is Vladimir Putin, and he is the one man who on his own could end it. But I'm afraid that, as he has demonstrated throughout this conflict, he has absolutely no care for the life of Ukrainians, and he has absolutely no care for the life of young Russians who he's conscripting and sending into this appalling mill of conflict, which is, as I say, the most avoidable conflict imaginable, and one which is now, sadly, entering its second year.
Now, finally, my favourite cartoon, the brilliantly clever South Park, has taken aim at Meghan and Harry. Let's have a look.
Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. It's the worldwide privacy tour. Come on, we want privacy, we want privacy. It's the worldwide privacy tour. Come on, want privacy, we want privacy, we want privacy. Because we need some privacy. It's the worldwide we want privacy. We want privacy. We want privacy.
I love it. They don't specifically call them Harry and Meghan, but it's unmistakable, and the worldwide privacy tour even comes to Australia. How do you think the miserable Joe is going to respond to that?
Oh, I think it's wonderful. South Park has shown it still hasn't lost its touch even after all of these decades. Ridicule is such a wonderful tool, and South Park has used it always better than anyone. They do, of course, point to this just central fallacy, and you and I have discussed this, Rita, even before South Park got onto it, that there is something utterly insane about constantly complaining about your privacy being invaded whilst invading your privacy more than anyone else. But yeah, I'm thrilled that South Park has once again knocked it out of the park.
Oh, absolutely. It's one program that has not jumped the shark despite being on for God knows how many years, 20 years. It's incredible. Douglas Murray, thank you so much for joining me.
It's a great pleasure as always. Thank you.